Hey, it's Trixie. Welcome to the underground. Crazy week, crazy week. Well, I got to talk about the Commanders losing for just a second. They sucked. They sucked. They reverted to their old ways, fumbling, and Jaden Daniels. It wasn't his fault, but the whole team, the defense, it couldn't compete. It just couldn't compete. Philadelphia deserved to win it, except that funny thing at the end where the game was practically over, or was over, and Frankie Louvu kept diving over when they were trying to do the tush push. And he kept diving, and they kept stopping the play. If he does it again, we're going to award him a touchdown, which they're going to anyway score, so who cares? I just commend his effort because the game was over at that point. They just are a few pieces away from getting it done. I feel bad that they beat Detroit then couldn't get it done. But they need a defensive end. They need another wide receiver other than Terry McLaurin. And Marshawn Lattimore was a joke. You know, they kept razzing at him, and he just couldn't handle the stress. He's just not. I don't like the guy. I don't think we should keep him. We spent all this money on draft picks, and I just think it was a bust. And I do. I say it early because I see it happening. He can't compete. He did it with Mike Evans, and then he did it in this game. Okay, so I had a psychic dream. And sometimes I have these, not often. I'm not a psychic, but I have these crazy things happening. And it happened before while I was awake, and things happened that were crazy. Like I met somebody, and it's in my mind, I had the name of the person, where we were going, and our future together. So this one was a bad dream. This one was like, I dreamed about one of my friends, and it was like a sad occasion. It was mourning and loss. I didn't tell her exactly. But I talked to somebody at work, and they're like, "You better call her because it's something that, you know, my aunt was a clairvoyant, and I'm not a clairvoyant though." And so I texted her and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "My dad's in the hospital." I was like, "Oh, I hope he's all right." I guess he had some kind of bad reaction to a blood transfusion, but okay. So I called my mother. I called my mommy because that's what I do. Okay. I called my mother to talk, and she's like, "I'm eating. Can you call?" I'm like, "You're always eating." So I had to like talk about it. I found out after she called me back because I was like, "Okay, I'm done." And she put the phone down and didn't listen. What kind of mother is this? And she said, "Well, you like talking to yourself." Unbelievable. Okay. Okay. Another thing. I approach people at work and ask them if they want to do stuff in their house, right? So I approach this woman, and she goes, "Wow, you look great." I mean, the flood of compliments. She's like, "Your hair looks good. Have you been working out?" And, your skin is beautiful. And I said, "You want to go out on a date?" And she said, "Yeah." She was actually gay. I could have guessed. And I did guess. She was married to a man. Yes. No. Sorry. But anyway, it was kind of funny. I saw Kathy Griffin this past week. Her voice still isn't what it was, but she was so happy to be back on tour. You could tell she played for 2 hours. And just a couple funny bits when she talked about going to Sharon Stone's house because she just divorced her husband and she's bawling her brains out. I guess when she got to the door, her houseboy said that she was sleeping, and Kathy's like, "Wake her up." And they go upstairs, and the guy's like, her gay guy, faintly knocking on the door, "Miss Stone." And I guess she gets up in the nude and hugs Kathy. And it's just, can you imagine? I mean, Sharon Stone it's exactly like Basic Instinct. And then she's going to brush her teeth naked. She's just funny. Another thing, she went over Jane Fonda's house, and Jane Fonda was cooking quesadillas in the microwave. In the microwave. Jane Fonda. And then she put like one shredded piece of cheese on the quesadilla. So, you know why she's like 90 pounds. Also, Rosie O'Donnell, they went to a Christmas party or something at Kathy Hilton's house, and she was saying how they were Trumpers, big Trumpers. She went with Rosie O'Donnell, and she comes in the room, and Rosie O'Donnell's talking to this guy who says, "Oh, I'm a staunch conservative. It's so nice to see a fellow conservative," to Rosie O'Donnell. And I saw your special on TV, your comedy special, and he thought she was Roseanne. Oh, that was so funny. But another thing I had to deal with at work was somebody that my manager hired was a 20-something. And sometimes the job is really tough. I got to tell you, even for me. And she was crying on the phone with me. I'm like, you're 20 something years old. What are you crying for? She's like, I feel like I'm a failure and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're setting up appointments. It's not rocket science. You're going to get one. It's only a matter of time. You talk to enough people, someone's going to say yes. And I guess she went home after that. And my boss said, oh, I think she quit, but she actually came back. But I couldn't believe she couldn't stop crying. And that she said she was a failure. I'm like, you're 20 something years old. It's okay to fail. As long as you try something, you're not a failure. And it's okay to try something and say, this isn't for me. I'm so good at motivating people. What can I do? So on to the more important news. Except for, my stuff is most important. Do you hear about that guy's penis who got stuck on the sidewalk? First of all, how did your penis get stuck? I don't have a penis, but if I did, I don't think I'd get it stuck on the sidewalk. Number one, he must have been drunk. Gotta be drunk. Number two, was he either playing with himself or taking a pee and then fell? That's what I'm thinking. So, crazy people. So the Eagles, after they celebrated their win and, onto the Super Bowl, go KC. Anyway, a fan was climbing the post and fell to his death. Another one was shooting a gun in the crowd. We would have celebrated better, I don't. Poor Buffalo, though. They can't seem to beat Kansas City. I think it's the fourth straight time in the playoffs that Patrick Mahomes has beaten the same team. Of course, that's a record. Poor thing. So, speaking of Gen Z are more depressed and isolated than their coworkers. Yes, I'm not depressed and isolated, even though I'm alone. And they feel less successful. So I got a taste of that talking to that girl. I just don't get it. Like, this is the time when you're supposed to enjoy yourself in your 20s. I was wild animal in my 20s. And who cares? I always did what I wanted. I never took anything seriously in my 20s. Now that I'm old, I realize what a fool I was. But at least I was happy-go-lucky. And, I always made money. Who cares? I'd worked 10 jobs. I worked 4 jobs when I was in my 20s. Mid-20s radio. I had a national radio show. I podcast when no one had podcasts. So I was feeling it. And they did a study from MetLife, 3,000 full-time workers aged 21 and up. 46% were stressed. What do you feel stressed about in your 20s? I don't understand. I don't get it. The girl on the phone told me, well, this is the first person that hired me. I applied for 40 positions. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I always got jobs when I was young. Now, in your 50s, that's tougher. But I'm so damn good, I'd get another job. 44% were more burned out. Burned out? You're in your 20s. 25% are depressed. Depressed. Are you kidding me? 30% are lonely. No, I didn't get lonely. I wasn't lonely. I played the field. I think I was into men and women, or didn't drop men at that point yet. Also, they are less happy. Yeah, I don't really know what to tell them. I'm sorry. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I didn't know Kyle Richards was a producer on the show. No wonder she could just storm off the set. A bird was trying to get into Kyle's house. So Kyle's like, what are you trying to tell me? She is so funny. I love her. That you're a lesbian, Kyle. That's what the bird's trying to tell you. That you're a lesbian. Run into the light. Dorit said the day her and PK separated, she, PK, and his AA sponsor were in the room together in the backyard. And the AA sponsor told her, he doesn't have enough strength to just go without the AA person being there. I don't get that. I don't understand. Look, I love AA. I've never done it. I quit on my own. But I always feel like you got to deal with stuff on your own. And you have to deal with temptation on your own. It's great. You need a sponsor. That's fine with you. But I always said, well, geez, I'm going to be alone sometimes and I'm going to see liquor commercials. What are you going to do? You got to have enough strength inside to do it, and hey, whatever stops you from drinking or whatever gets you through, that's great. Sutton said Erica was Kyle's minion. Erica's nobody's minion. I'm sorry. She is not afraid of anything. Wait till Erica sees that scene. You know how they do those scenes with the producer? Dorit told the girls her 10-year-old Jagger asked if she was getting divorced. He found out through Instagram. These are the issues right now. You can't hide anything from these kids. So my 10-year-old niece told me, she gave me a list of things that she wanted for her birthday because her birthday's coming up. A new iPhone, a vanity, things that I can't get her. I don't understand. Like, I'm not her mother, so I'm not getting you an iPhone, honey. I'll get you something, but geez, these kids. Sutton, I don't know. She's severely socially awkward. She comes downstairs and her pants were up to her breast. And they're like, pull your pants down. She looked like, the Lubners from Saturday Night Live. Of course, the 20-year-olds aren't not going to understand Google it. Go YouTube it. The Lubners who used to wear their pants up to here. Jennifer Tilly bought Garcelle a $700 Dolce & Gabbana toaster. I mean, yeah, okay, mine's like $20. I don't care. What do I care? Who the hell's coming over? I don't know. Dorit wants loyalty from Kyle, and I get it because I'm going through this now because I have two lesbian friends that are warring. I call them the War of the Roses, and I'm friends with both of them. So what do? You have to pick a side. I like them both. They're both good for certain things. Like one of my friends, she's wild, and we have a great time. The other one, we have similar interests. She went with me to Kathy Griffin, and she likes going to scary movies like I do. I just like, why? I'm not getting divorced. Why do I gotta pick a side? Anyway, she wants Kyle to tell her what PK tells her. Yeah, that's a tough thing because she was friends with PK before. And I empathize with Kyle. How to be a friend with both. Kyle spotted a dead bird on the beach. And they all went running like maniacs. I mean, they're hysterical. It's not as good as past seasons, but I see after a while, it just gets to be old and tired. I'm still watching. Trump's Health and Human Services nominee, RFK Jr. Okay, Caroline Kennedy came out in a video and said he puts mice and little baby chicks in a blender and then feeds them. I guess the hawk had to eat. I get it. But oh my gosh, this guy is so sick. Something's wrong with him. He got grilled by Democrats and Republicans. Word on the street has it that Trump doesn't care. He's already ready to usher him off and put in a replacement. He acknowledged his own kids were vaccinated and he talks against vaccination. So we can't trust a word he says. I mean, come on now. I don't like people that are hypocrites, If you believe something, stick with it. He also didn't know the difference. He mixed up Medicaid and Medicare, and we need somebody who knows what they're talking about, number one. RFK Jr. was talking about onesies. Are you for onesies? I couldn't believe the way he was talking. He cracks me up every time he speaks. And then he was saying, if someone smokes and they get lung cancer, they probably shouldn't take from the pool, from health insurance. In other words, the Republican mantra, let them all get sick and die. So listen, okay, are we going to say that about fat people? If they eat, we shouldn't pay for their health care? This is really, I don't know what if someone's sick, listen, it's an addiction, I get it. You're choosing to smoke. If you choose to smoke, you might get lung cancer. That's just a fact. I get it. I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't anymore. There's people, I don't want to tell them how to live. If you want to eat sugar like me, leave me alone. Okay, I got to eat. Trump directed to freeze funds on federal programs like Meals on Wheels. Asshole. And school lunches. He now rescinded that and said, it didn't go through the proper channels. He's just going to try to slide all these evil programs by until there's an uproar and then say, I didn't do it. What's that? I didn't do it, from Hotel Transylvania. I didn't do it. That's him. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt in her 20s. She's a witch. She has a cross on her. It should be upside down, the way she talks. I'm sorry, but she reminds me of a Satanist. 3 ways to build a love map, according to psychologist Mark Travers, of your partner. A love map. Understanding their likes and dislikes. That's kind of common sense. If they're homebodies or if they like to go out and be wild, go to strip clubs. Their favorite food. I like that. Yeah, you gotta like the person you're with. Not love the one you're with, like the one you're with. That's what someone told me. Don't marry someone you love, marry someone you like. Number 2, learn about their triggers and deep wounds. Okay, that's a thing. I don't like being called stupid and fat. So stay away from those if you're dating me, okay? Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton had, she wouldn't pick on his drinking and then he wouldn't pick on her weight. So you gotta fight a certain way, you know. Number 3, support their goals and dreams. This is common sense. 8 signs you are longing for a love that's deeper and more genuine. Who the hell wants superficial crap? Surface level connections are not good. Well, who cares? Like, you're not going to crave that. You're just going to crave the sex from the person. Like, who cares? Who does this anyway? Especially at my age. 2, seeking authenticity over perfection. Because if you're looking at porn, everything's not like that. Everything's not, oh, I want you all the time, 24/7 when I'm cooking breakfast or vacuuming. Some relationships look good on the outside and they're disastrous on the inside. I've seen it. So you got to understand nobody's perfect. And if you really love somebody, you kind of embrace their faults and flaws. Number 3, you crave emotional intimacy. Okay, I'll work on it. Number 4, you don't mind waiting for it. I have no patience, but I've been waiting a long time. I haven't really found anything. I thought I did, but then it went away. It just disappeared quickly. Number 5, love songs. Love songs. I feel love, Donna Summer. I felt that. I was listening to it like a year ago, and then all of a sudden I said, oh my God, am I in love? I don't know where it came from, but it was crazy. Number 6, you're not afraid of conflict. You can argue with somebody and still feel like they're going to be around the next day. Number 7, you're ready for commitment. Someone told me I was afraid, and I think I am. But I don't know. I might be ready. I guess I'll know when she comes along, you know. It's a lot of responsibility, you know. And number 8, you value self-love and independence. I value my independence. That's a hard thing. You love yourself. You got to forgive yourself for things that you've done. Can I do one more before I know I'm talking too much? So there's a thing called quiet quitting. Quiet quitting, soft quitting, quiet quitting, something. I know it's quiet quitting is a thing. There's a thing called soft quitting. Soft quitting? I don't know what soft quitting is. According to Forbes, it's only doing the bare minimum at work. And I know people that do this at work. So I don't understand that because, like, when I go to work, of course, there's days where your effort isn't as good, but I always want more and I'm never satisfied. So I thank God I don't have that in me. I'm always pushing and striving, and that's why I win so much. So I think they're shifting their priorities to, I want a better social life, and work, doesn't provide all of it. And I need mental health. And I kind of understand that because a lot of people put everything into their jobs, and I was one of one of these people. And one of my friends said, well, what's it going to say on your gravestone that you won every month? And that kind of made me wake up. And now I'm just calling all these people you want to do something? You want to do something? So employers should treat their employees better with better compensation. It helps productivity. People are basically tired of living for their jobs and not getting anything out of it. They're forced to work for horrible managers and bad bosses. That's the number one reason why people quit. Gallup estimates disengaged employees cost the global economy $7.8 trillion a year. That's 11% of our GDP, gross domestic product, due to low or lost productivity. Jeez, man. Plus high turnover when they quit. It's not only money, but you can offer flexible hours, time off, leaving early, which is what I do all the time. Shh. No, they all know. I always tell them. Helps them get refreshed, charge your batteries. Sometimes you say to your boss, which I did recently, I'm burning out. I need to be in a different store. So they're trying to address that, and it's tough. But I'm doing more shows, so I'm kind of feeling good now. That's all it takes. So you got to listen to your employees. So one more thing before I go. How many times did Tom Brady say in that game against the Eagles and the Commanders, he's a stud? I counted 5 times. He's a stud. What a stud. Oh, man, that man's a stud. Get him off. Get him off the air. I can't take it anymore. I put that Greg Olson back. I can't stand it anymore. All right, you guys. Love you. Super Bowl Sunday next week. I got nothing to do this week. I guess I'll go work out. Have a good one. Take care. And don't quiet quit. Bye-bye.